The numbers are impressive for Wichita State.
They're impressive. And Mitch, I've got a statistical cocktail for you here on a Saturday afternoon in the Valley. The 26, 38, and 19 club, 26 wins, holding their opponents to 38% or less and 19-plus scoring margin. The only teams to do that, Kansas won the national title. Kentucky won the national title. Stanford in the second round of the NCAA, and Kentucky to the Final Four. Wichita State and Gonzaga are the only two teams right now that have that statistical category. It's 5 o'clock somewhere in the Missouri Valley Conference on a championship Saturday.
Coach Marshall, he wins today. Greg Marshall, the first Valley coach in 60 years to have five Valley titles on his resume. Of course, National Coach of the Year when his Shock started 35-0 and then won regional final to get to the Final Four in 2013. The Shockers will get the first possession. Missouri State tries to counter with a number. They're 31-3 in the last 34 senior days here in Springfield, trying to think upset, and Shaq Morris says he's going to try to deter that thought right away.
Missouri State opens up in 2-3 zone, and Shaq Morris just punishes the defenders inside, catches it in perfect position.
Obadiah Church able to slip by Morris, and he'll go to the line as Terry Davis, one of the three officials working this game, will ring up Shaquille Morris. Paul Lusk here at Missouri State in his 6th year. He has been good for the Valley. He was a great player at Southern Illinois when the Salukis were dominant in the 90s, including K-State assistant Chris Lowry and others for Rich Herron back in Carbondale in those days.
But Mitch, it has been a difficult season for Missouri State as they are number 2 in the country with 7 losses of 3 points or less. They've played a ton of close games and not been able to finish.
Church doesn't shoot free throws well. He's a shot blocker, but just 53% from the line. And the Bears stay in the 2-3 zone. Frankamp and Shamet, though, their eyes will light up. These guys are shooting almost 60% from 3 over the last 11 games.
Now watch Marcus McDuffie, now Landry Shamet down there in the corner. He's getting behind the zone. He's wide open.
Easy bucket for Shamet down in the corner. Again, 57% his last 11 games. Mark on the road, he shoots 55% from 3.
Yeah, he's the next great one at Wichita State. In fact, he is the great one right now at Wichita State. He's the leader of this team, number 11 in black right there, matched up with Rhodes, number 10.
Jared Dixon, they're trying to get him going. A promising sophomore. His brother played at Mizzou. Highly regarded and highly recruited out of Kansas City.
Jared Dixon, how many times we hear Paul Lusk in practice yesterday talk to Jared Dixon about energy, bringing it. He brought it right there.
Morris again goes right at the guts of the zone.
This zone can't last. I mean, that's 3 for 3, 2 deep touches, and a wide open 3. Wichita State's torching that zone right now.
Frankamp trying to poke it out. It's out of bounds to Missouri State. Too easy on this entry and way too deep.
Look how deep the post guys for Wichita State are catching the basketball. He's wide open. And there's nobody even close to him. Shaq Morris right there gets to the open area. That's the way it's been now for 3 straight possessions. 2 inside easy plays and a wide open 3 ball.
But Alizé Johnson was way out of position.
He's playing touch me not defense. You've got to be, if you're not to be physical with Wichita State, they'll grab the heart out of your chest.
A heel on the line as McDuffie drains the 3 and disallowed. And a turnover for the Shockers.
You've got to play physical. You've got to deliver the first blow against Wichita State, especially at home.
Jeff Campbell with the call. Along with Terry Davis and Brad Ferry working this game.
That's a good matchup right there. Alizé Johnson matched up with Marcus McDuffie. 24 in white. He just walked against Marcus McDuffie, number 32 in black.
Johnson might have walked again. Frankamp forced to move off his spot.
Yeah.
Miller hits the 3. Daquan Miller, Markey's coming off a career-high 26 at Bradley Wednesday night.
He's a gamer, and he also can take and make big shots. And guess who led that break? Alize Johnson. He's like a point forward in the 94-foot situation. He's got a very specialized skill set, great talent.
Wild attempt by McDuffie. And Johnson missing in transition. Daquan Miller had 3 threes against Wichita State here a year ago.
Now, he's one of these guys that I'm a little bit surprised at their late game record, because he's willing to take over in late game situations, and he has made some big shots in his career. Daquan Miller, number 4 in white for Missouri State.
But mark one factor, he is second in the Valley in minutes played. He plays 35 to 36 minutes a night.
And that can affect legs in late game situation too.
Shamet pull up easy. It's just way too easy right now offensively for Wichita State. The best Shocker offensive team in a generation.
Yeah, that's what people don't understand. You bring up a great point. We always talk about play angry, play great defense, Greg Marshall type basketball. This team is more skilled offensively than the 35-0 team before they lost to Kansas.
Obadiah Church with that shot. Again, that 35-0 team losing to Kentucky. They got the rough draw. That was a 1 seed.
Gosh. It's amazing where they're catching the basketball against this zone.
So Wichita State hot early, but Missouri State trying to hang close. We come back. We'll have another lesson in bracketology. Where do the Shockers fit with the rest of college basketball?
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lexus. Experience amazing.
Zarks, Wichita State a 2-point lead over Missouri State. Mitch Holtis with you along with Mark Adams. All right, Wichita State and Illinois State in this league. Why do they have a chance? Should be in the tournament. Why can they be successful in the tournament?
I'm going to drop some serious knowledge on you right now. Over the last 9 NCAA tournaments, 23 teams have gone to the tournament holding their opponents under 38% defensive field goal percentage. Of those 23 teams, 11 made the Sweet 16. Of those 11, 8 reached the Elite 8. Of those 8, 6 went to the Final 4. Of those 4, they reached the title game. 2 won the championship, Kansas in 2008 and Kentucky in 2012. Illinois State, Wichita State, both 4 and 5 in the country, hold their opponents under 38%. And you know what, Mitch? I reiterate the point where as Connor Frankamp knocks down the jump shot, Wichita State has better stats than that 35-0 team that lost to Kentucky. I think I misspoke earlier, said Kansas. Of course, they beat Kansas in the Sweet 16 the next season.
Yeah, and 15 in Omaha. Actually dominated Kansas in that second half. You know what's interesting about the Shocker team, though, they've started off offensively great. Alize Johnson, though, sneaks in behind the Shocker defense to get his first 2. Some offensive teams, like the Shocker team of the last team that was this proficient, Cheese Johnson and those guys, this Shocker team, though, it hasn't affected their defense. Sometimes when teams start scoring, they don't play as good a defense. These guys are just, they're doing it on both ends.
Yeah, that's why they're so efficient offensively and defensively. And you saw Shaq Morris with the easy layup again against the interior defense of Missouri State. And remember, these guys are only freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. All these guys are back.
Well, Missouri State's keeping pace, Mark, because they're making shots.
Yeah, Jared Dixon is back, too. He's only a sophomore, and you're starting to see his offensive repertoire. Inside again. Good job at defensive rebound. That's Alize Johnson, a double-double nightmare for opponents.
He's had 15 of them this year.
Now, he's the closest thing to Caleb Swanigan in college basketball outside of the Power 5 and Big East, but outside of anywhere for that matter.
Nice move by Church, goes right after Shaquille Morris, but enough girth in the middle by Morris.
Shaq Morris is catching it wherever he wants to. It's like nobody's guarding him.
7 of 10 of the Shockers from the field, but Mark, 4 of those 7 have been right at the rim.
At point-blank range.
Oh, Miller got by with a walk, maybe. Terry Davis says with the no call. But Dixon going after it. With some help by Zach Brown for the Shocker defense. It's just way too easy offensively right now for Wichita State.
Yep.
Missouri State circling the wagons here, down 6.
And Shaq Morris has been unbelievable offensively as he catches the ball so deep against the zone time and time again. Good footwork, excellent execution, but frankly, he's not being guarded inside right now.
Yeah, Alizé Johnson and Obadiah Church have to figure out the middle of that zone defensively for Missouri State. Preklo now in for the Bears. Shockers love to rebound, but you better rebound in this game because Zay Johnson is slipping around. Great steal, though, by Jared Rhodes. And a foul on the Shockers underneath, and Greg Marshall's upset. Hey, tonight on ESPN, the Big 12 and Pac-12 cap off the College Hoops Saturday, 6 Eastern. Third-ranked Kansas already with their 13th straight Big 12 title. They're going to Austin tonight to take on Texas. Then a huge Saturday primetime game presented by AT&T. It's going to be in Tucson. Number 5 UCLA takes on number 4 Arizona. Both games streaming live on the ESPN app. And watch ESPN as Jared Rhodes gets rewarded for his hustle and goes to the line.
Well, Jared Rhodes has brought a lot of energy here early in this basketball game. He gets the steal on the sideline, then tries to turn it into instant offense. Jared Rhodes doing a lot of good things. Close call, but I think it's the right call.
Greg Marshall wasn't happy. I think he wanted a foul on the other end. Rhodes splits a pair better than that.
Was close, really close. Here's the zone again for Missouri State.
So if you're going to be better against Missouri State, communication on the back end, now it's like a matchup. Now they switched to man.
Yeah, now they're matching up.
Kind of goofed up Sham, and it's out of bounds to Missouri State. So what's the principles there for Missouri State defensively?
Missouri State came out of that timeout showing 2-3 zone, and then after the second pass, they matched up in man-to-man. I mean, they're switched off on ball-to-ball screens, but they actually matched up, which means they were guarding somebody in the paint that time.
Mentioned Missouri State has been close with those 7 single-possession losses. They had Illinois State on the ropes here a week and a half ago. Preklo. Martin trash. Shamet clears.
I think it's fair to say that Missouri State has not played well here early, but they're only down 5 right now.
Another post entry. Willis is going to the line.
Missouri State trying to find their rhythm defensively, down 5 right now on a championship Saturday in the Valley.
Yeah, rematch time on a Sonic blockbuster. Duke. The return game against North Carolina. You like Kennard. That's your favorite guy for Duke.
I do like Luke Kennard a lot. I mean, he's put up such great numbers through all the drama. Luke Kennard has been the anchor of that Duke offense and defense. He's had a tremendous season.
And when Carolina decides to guard, when they get after you defensively, they're hard to beat.
Here's the way I describe it. If they play beer and pretzel defense, they'll win the national title. When they go wine and cheese, they're not very good.
Well, Willis is going to the line with the pretzel here. Willis has been interesting. You know, he was the stud in January. He has slipped in February, but they're so deep, then it's Nurger's turn or Shaq Morris's turn.
Well, that's where this team is different in that they've got 15 to 20 fouls they can burn in the post and not lose productivity.
Willis can shoot these. He had 14 makes against Oklahoma State in December at the foul line.
Well, full court pressure here to open up coming out of the timeout from Wichita State.
7-point lead for Wichita State, their biggest advantage here in the first half.
Well, Mitch, when Missouri State rebounds and competes well on the boards, they stay right with anybody.
Tough curl by Rhodes on a shot, his first field goal.
And Jared Rhodes, a nice-looking junior. He's got deep range. There you saw his mid-range game. Half his shots come from behind the arc where he makes 40%. Right there, a nice-looking stroke from 15.
Averaged 14 points over his last 3 games. Too easy. Again, Willis right at the rim. The posts for Wichita State have 12 points.
That time, Missouri State ran a second defender at Darrell Willis, but he read the opening on the baseline, just spun to it easily.
The other night, Wichita State had an incredible 8-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. So far in this game, the assists are there again.
Now, Wichita State, 9 field goals with 9 assists to open this game.
Reeves, the hot shooting freshman. And McDuffie over the back. And this week on NBA Saturday primetime game presented by Verizon Wireless, D-Wade, the Bulls are in Cleveland. Will LeBron play? There is questionable for this game. Coverage tips at NBA Countdown with NBA Countdown presented by Straight Talk Wireless at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. You can also see it streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Second foul on Marcus McDuffie of the Sharks.
How about Doug McDermott getting traded to OKC? Part of the Thunder now.
Well, good for him. I think it's a better place for him. Obadiah Church slicing.
Boy, he covers some real estate there. Looked like a Maserati going to the basket.
Yeah, we mentioned Wichita State so proficient in field goal percentage defense, but right now Missouri State is 7 of 15 from the field. But the Shockers answer.
And Deshaun Smith from downtown.
Well, Alizé Johnson is everywhere and he's drawn a foul. This kid is one of the top rebounders in the country.
Yeah, Alizé Johnson's so good at going to the offensive glass, and Wichita State's been so good at attacking the zone. As you take a look at Obadiah Church there, man, look at that. Look at the acceleration right there. And then the 3-ball by Deshaun Smith from deep against that zone. Wichita State's gotten whatever shot they want against the zone in the first half so far.
But Missouri State has been decent on the offensive end. Defending the Shocks has been a problem. But Alizé Johnson, one of the better stories in the country, really, when you look. 2 20-20 games. You mentioned the comparison to Swanigan. He's had 2 games, Mark. He's had 20 rebounds in one and 21 in the other.
Yeah, Swanigan's had 3 of those games, 23-point, 20 rebound games. Alizé Johnson's had 2 of them. They're the only 2 players in the country that average over 14 points a game, over 10 rebounds a game, and shoot 40% from 3 and have 15 double-doubles. Only he and Caleb Swanigan have those numbers. That's how elite Alizé Johnson is.
And you mentioned Doug McDermott. Only McDermott has had more Newcomers of the Week awards than Alizé Johnson in Valley history.
That's pretty good company. Caleb Swanigan, Doug McDermott. It's not bad. Watch number 24 in white when the shot goes up. Look, he's already getting positioned for the offensive glass. Look at this. He gets blocked off. That's a good job inside by Rashard Kelly.
But you better do it every time.
Every time.
A roll in. Zach Brown gets the 3. 5 of his last 11 prior to that one. And the Shockers are smoking from 3. 3 of the top 5 3-point shooters in the Valley belong to the Shockers.
There he is. He's got a nose for the ball. Alizé Johnson, that's what he does. You can never, ever let him go to the offensive glass without laying your entire body on it. How good is that?
It's funny talking to Paul Luss yesterday. He said, people talk about recruiting. I got to get better at rebounding. My team, what rebounding drills do you have? Go recruit a rebounder like Alizé Johnson.
They spent 25 minutes straight on rebounding in practice yesterday. Straight. Didn't change the drill. Straight rebounding from Missouri State.
Greg Marshall upset again. Traveling on Rashard Keller.
He has such a tremendous nose for the basketball. I've got basset hounds that don't smell out the ball this well. And not nearly as productive either, by the way. Alizé Johnson.
11 rebounds a game. Top 5 in the nation in total rebounds coming into this game. Bad idea by Miller. Only Bradley has a worse turnover margin than the Bears in the Valley.
Well, that's the reason why they've lost so many close games. Shaq Morris once again just wills it wherever he wants it, he gets it. Wichita State pounding the ball inside to the big fella, Shaq Morris.
Missouri.
All right, guys, thanks. LaFonso Ellis would love Alizé Johnson and the way he rebounds.
There's a little bracketology for you, #1 seeds. Now take a look at Gonzaga. I thought I was looking at a UConn women's basketball score the other night. They beat San Diego 96-38.
39, yeah. Nova gets beat, though. Nova got beat by Butler. That was the biggest upset of the week in the Big East.
Butler swept Villanova this year.
I've got Baylor on Monday night against West Virginia. That's going to be a Lunardi Bowl game.
Yeah, that'll have a few implications on all the seeds, won't it?
Yeah, it's not Alizé forte. He's not bad out there, but...
How about Kansas winning their 100th Big 12 championship in a row?
And only 4 were shared.
Yeah. I mean, we're all talking about Geno and winning 100. They've won 100 conference championships in a row, isn't it? Something like that, isn't it?
You're only 87 off, but that's okay. And Frank Mason III, a National Player of the Year candidate.
I get accused of hyperbole on occasion.
You mentioned Swanigan. I like him as a National Player of the Year candidate. But Frank Mason,
I think Frank Mason III is the guy right now. But I love Caleb Swanigan.
See if this Bears zone's any better.
Well, just watch for 24. He'll be able to tell you one way or the other. Shaq Morris in black for Wichita State. There he is. Not so good. He misses from point-blank range. Boy, did he measure Ronald Mercer right there? If you're not going to guard me, I'm going to stick it in your face, big fella. And that's exactly what he did. I like the bounce in this game. I like the confidence of Daquan Miller.
He's had good games against Wichita State. 17 here last year against the Shockers. 12 in Wichita a year ago. Miller 2 for 3 from 3 in this game. And here's Missouri State. I mean,
they're down 6.
They're down 6.
They're hanging around.
They do a better job on this end, they'll have a chance, and that's easy for Fran King.
You can't outscore Wichita State. They're too good offensively. You've got to play some lockdown defense.
Which is what Illinois State did back in mid-January when they were the only Valley loss for Wichita State.
And then that kind of turned around in Wichita, if I remember correctly.
Merger's presence made that an unsizable shot for Miller.
Look how deep he catches it again. Good help there by Obadiah Church, the number 19 shot rejecter in the country. Number 5 for Missouri State.
71 blocks for Obadiah Church.
Averages 2.5 blocks a game. I'd go back to that big fella. Let him make a play. He and Alizé Johnson getting inside to those guys. There you go.
Miller just defers to that. Alizé Johnson was sniffing the air ball offensive board, but stepped out.
But look at the difference in the 2 shots by Daquan Miller. One, he measures the defender, backs off. The other, he got Ron Mercer right in his grill.
Hey, tonight on ESPN, the Big 12, Pac-12, cap off the college hoops Saturday. Kansas in Austin tonight against the Texas Longhorns, one of the youngest teams in the country. And then the huge Saturday primetime game. Number 5 UCLA, Lonzo Ball and the Bruins in Tucson against the Arizona Wildcats. Both games streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
Remember, Sean Miller and the Arizona Wildcats drilled UCLA in Pauley Pavilion earlier this year. And I mean drilled.
Johnson's going to the line coast to coast as Willis could not hold him back.
So, Mitch, if you lined up every player in the Missouri Valley, and I was on a playground, they said, you get to choose the first 2 players. If everybody in the Valley, my first draft choice be Landry Shamet.
Yep.
My second draft choice be Alize Johnson, because of the high ceiling of this kid, number 24 from Missouri State. And you just saw 94 feet, dribbles the ball the entire length of the floor. We saw him lead the break with a pass earlier. That time, draws contact. This kid is an amazing talent. He would be my second draft choice. If I was just choosing guys out of the Valley, those would be my first 2 picks. Shamet's a winner. That kid has the highest ceiling in the Valley, in my view.
15 double-doubles, 19 double-figure rebounds, and Shaq Morris just rules the middle of the Shocker offense right now. Church has his second foul for Missouri State.
Who would you choose?
Well, Paris Lee is going to be player of the year in the league.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Landry Shamet's player of the year. I'm saying if I were building a team and I got draft choice, that's who I pick. I agree with you. I think Paris Lee probably will be. But it's a way to be a politician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just leave Illinois State out of it. Marcus McDuffie, though, is going to be in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Be a high pick.
Yeah. I think it's interesting to think in terms of, if you're building a team, who do you want?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you know what's been interesting this year in the Valley, to your point, last year at the Valley Tournament Arch Madness, I awarded the awards, and the group of seniors is unreal. We talked about Fred Van Vliet and
historic
Ron Baker.
Yeah, the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. But what are you going to do for an encore? I mean, there's some young dudes in this league that can play, including this one.
Yep.
There's your first round pick.
I rest my case. Your Honor, I rest my case.
And of course, you got the first 2 picks, so that's fair.
Well, all I ever wanted is an unfair advantage.
Shamet with an early 9, although he's yielded to Shaq Morris, who has 12, and a 10-point lead for the Shockers and Greg Marshall, their biggest advantage of the first half. Again, they're winning by 19 on the average. They're winning by 30 at home on the average.
Yeah, this team with 26 wins, they hold their opponents under 38% from the floor. They're winning by an average of 19 points per game. Them and Gonzaga are the only 2 teams in the country with that stat line. I heard Gonzaga's pretty good. Numero uno in college basketball.
You already saw where Lenardi's got them as a 1 seed. He's got the Shockers as an 8 seed.
They're always undervalued in the NCAA tournament, except for when they had to make them a number 1 and then played against Kentucky as a number 8. Yeah, that was a real good seeding job.
Shocks with 9 NCAA wins the last 4 years. Only 4 teams have more. Krecklow's getting good looks and finally knocks one home. Of course, a legacy in the Valley. His dad played for Drake and the Boston Celtics and won an NBA championship.
Krecklow, a big guard with a reputation, not a great mid-range game, but it's developing for him. We just saw it right there. Offensive rebounds have to drive Paul Lust crazy because of that. Second chance points, and Lust just shakes his head and slams his hand on the bench.
These are the top 2 teams in the league in rebound margin. The Shockers way ahead.
They spent 25 minutes yesterday straight in the same rebound drill. You never see that in a February practice.
Martin with an and-one opportunity. Jordan Martin. You know why, though? Their game at Bradley. We'll talk about it when we come back, but Missouri State had an outlier game on the boards in their midweek loss in Peoria. Wichita State leading 37-29, but it brings back 2014. They ended the regular season 31-0. Mark, they were 35-0 before this game.
Against Kentucky in the NCAA tournament, Fred Van Vliet, the shot doesn't go down. Lee Anthony early. Fred Van Vliet, Ron Baker, Takeo Cotton in Kentucky, a number 8 seed knocked off number 1. Number 1 in the country right now is Gonzaga, as they chase perfection now at 29-0. No team has gone undefeated. In fact, Bob Knight was at that 31-0 game when Wichita State won at home to seal the regular season championship and undefeated for the regular season at 31-0, and then went to the Valley Tournament and ultimately to the NCAA Tournament. 10 teams from the ACC projected into the NCAA Tournament. And Lonardi's #1 seeds, Kansas, Villanova, North Carolina, and Gonzaga. And my question is, why is Gonzaga the 4th team of the #1 seeds? Now, listen, Joe gets it right. I mean, Joe gets it right, what, 90-some-odd% of the time. He just crunches the numbers,
yep.
you know. But Gonzaga, with their depth across the front line and back line, nobody's deeper than Gonzaga across the front line and the back line in the country, except for maybe, I think North Carolina is their best matchup.
Well, it begs the question, the comparison of the 14 Shockers to the 17 Zags.
Yep.
Similarities and differences.
Well, the similarities are, obviously both teams undefeated, but the differences are Gonzaga is much deeper inside than what Wichita State was, and they're deeper on the perimeter than what Wichita State was.
This Shocker team, though, don't go to sleep on them. I mean, they're sitting at 4 losses. They have lost to Illinois State, Michigan State, Louisville, and Oklahoma State. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And they're talking them in an 8 seed. Because this has a look of a top 4 seed kind of team with the depth that they've got.
Well, in the way that they scheduled, when you have an Oklahoma on your schedule that just went to the Final Four, you assume it's going to be another 25, 30-win team. Oklahoma has the least number of wins versus last season than anybody else in the country. They're minus 15 wins right now on the season. You look at LSU. LSU has taken a nosedive from a year ago. I mean, Wichita State scheduled programs that you think would be 20, 25, even 30-win programs, but those programs have not come through this season.
And Tom Izzo's Michigan State team's dipped.
And they played Michigan State when they were basically healthy.
Had a close loss to Louisville.
Yeah.
3 to shoot. The Bears have been better defensively. This will be a
Really
shot
good.
clock violation. What's been the difference now with them?
They went man-to-man on that possession. I think that if Missouri State's going to do one thing coming out of the second half, ditch the zone, go man-to-man and start chasing shooters around with that type of intensity.
4th Shocker turnover of the game.
This is a huge first-half possession for Missouri State. Down 7. They need a bucket.
They can get a 2-for-1 here.
They get it.
Dixon off the top of the square, and Shaq Morris was ready to send it into the Missouri State student section.
Athletic Jared Dixon. Missouri State now back in the zone. Shaq Morris has a mismatch. Inside out. It's good stuff.
Tough shot by Frankamp, because you know what? They had a 2-for-1 setup. Paul Lusk had set up the 2-for-1, and now he gets the last shot of the half. But Frankamp with a big one to take it back to 7.
Boy, the way Jared Rhodes has gone in the first half, I'd look for him. Along with Jared Dixon, number 10, number 11. Both those guys have played really well coming down the stretch. There's number 11, Jared Dixon with the ball.
Boy, not the shot they wanted, and Wichita State defends it well and almost hit that one. Kelly was close. But Wichita State leads by 7 at halftime, trying to get a 27th win and at least a share of the Valley title. Hey, when we come back, we'll check in with the studio with Doug and LaFonso. Straight games when leading at half. They've got a 39-32 lead at half here in the Ozarks this afternoon at JQH Arena. Mitch Holter's back with you along with Mark Adams. Now, Shaq Morris made it look easy in this game. He went right at the middle of Missouri State's defense.
Yeah, both teams came in with a game plan to pound the basketball inside and hit the glass, and both of them have done it with some success. In particular, Shaq Morris, who's been unbelievable offensively in catching the ball in areas where you can flat out score. He's caught it so deep against the zone. That's against Obadiah Church, who, by the way, is the number 19 shot blocker in the country. But Shaq Morris is owning. There's Darrell Willis right there, who reads the defenders on the top shoulder, spins the baseline, no help on the backside. Get it inside? Okay. Alize Johnson says, I can do that. Go ahead and get a rebound. He's one of the best in the country. He's a 20-20 kind of guy in rebounds and points. Alize Johnson right there, a lot like Caleb Swanigan. He can flat out go. So let's look. How have they done? Both teams points in the paint. 16-14 slide advantage to Wichita State. Rebounds. dead even. That's good news for Missouri State, but they've got to shore up defensively inside in order to make a run at a team that wants another Valley championship.
Yeah, Wichita State wins. They will tie, at least tie for the Valley title. Illinois State is playing just a couple hours later at Northern Iowa.
Shaq Morris has been so good offensively when he plays tough. And listen, this guy's played tough for about the last 2 weeks now, where he's been physically, emotionally involved in this offense. He's played consistently hard and well. He makes this team elite in my view.
And Missouri State had a chance. They played the 2-for-1 at the end of the half. They scored, but Frankamp hit a key bucket. Then they couldn't score, and now they get this possession. They could have had 3 out of 4 possessions.
I like this look.
Missouri State will keep it. Now Alize Johnson was going after that miss again.
And he's so good at just sniffing out where the ball's going to be, and his tremendous athleticism. He just goes in and gets it. Number 24, one of the really special talents in college basketball today.
He's got the ISO here. Frankamp trying to dig it out of there. And the native of Williamsport, Pennsylvania, makes the Little League World Series proud as he gets into double figures with 10.
He's Little League coachable, too. He really doesn't mind being coached hard and often, and it's showed. Paul Luss done a good job bringing him along.
Close as the Bears have been in a while. Kelly, and it's an offensive foul, Rashard Kelly.
Alize Johnson, good preparation this time against Rashard Kelly. Alize Johnson, look how low he plays. Look how wide he is defensively. He's ready to get down. He's in a stance and he takes the charge. I mean, that's just really good fundamental athletic defense. He's coachable.
Shockers have showed this full court defense, but the Missouri State Bears have been able to handle it thus far. Bears score here now. It gets interesting.
I like the way Jared Dixon ended up the first half. Attack mode just like that. Can't finish. Inside out.
Church skies to get up there.
It was Obadiah Church and Alize Johnson. Those are 2 guys who go get you a basketball.
Almost an and-one opportunity as Alize Johnson now as aggressive on the offensive end as he's been on the defensive side. This foul goes against Zach Brown. That's his second.
This is a guy that averages over 14 points a game, over 10 rebounds a game, shoots 40% from 3, 15 double-doubles. There's only one player in America that has done more than him in those stat areas. Caleb Swanigan of Purdue.
He's also getting to the line. He's 5 of 5 in this game. And in the last 2 games prior to this one, Mark, he was getting to the line 21 times.
Yeah. Which means he plays really, really hard. That's what I like about him. He's got a really good motor.
And here are the Bears within 1 possession.
Yep. And they've been better defensively to open this half as well.
Until now, Kelly's got one underneath, and he's got an and-one opportunity. They went to a 3-quarter zone, and the Shockers slice it off. A 3-quarter pressure. First bucket for Kelly.
Never any panic. Connor Frankamp gets in the middle, and look at the little skip pass right there by Shaq Morris. Shaq Morris could have presented the basketball to the rim, but who does he got right next to him? Alize Johnson and Obadiah Church. He's got the number 19 shot blocker and a great athlete, so he gives it up to Rashard Kelly. That's a really smart play.
How good a coaching move was it to have a guard in the middle of that press break?
And Connor Frankamp never turns it over. I mean, his assist-to-turnover ratio is off the charts. We thought Fred VanVleet was good. He's got a better assist-to-turnover ratio than VanVleet or Baker by a long stretch, by the way.
They were 8-1 assist-to-turnover Tuesday night against Evansville. 8-1. That's Monte Morris of Iowa State numbers.
Yeah, Frankamp has 26 assists and 5 turnovers over the last 8 games. That's over 5-1. Look at him.
Well, Alize Johnson trying to do it by himself right now.
Well, he could take the bump, though. He proved that to me.
Oh, yeah.
It's over back. He touched the line.
He touched the line.
He touched the line. He touched the line, no question.
And they're going to score here. Shamet gets an and one. Wow. Paul Lusk has a beef here. Shamet's toe was on the end line as he tried to chase down the loose ball.
And Landry Shamet comes up with the loose ball. Just goes right at Jordan Martin. Goes right to his sternum.
Shamet on the road shoots 90% at the line, and he misses that one. Missouri State cut it to 3, but now the Shocks have an answer with 5 straight.
Let's see if Alize Johnson can stay aggressive offensively. There he is.
He has yet to hit a 3 in the game, but he's got 36 makes for the year. And Shamet, it's like a layup right now for that
kid. He's becoming the best sit-down and shut-up player in the league. On the road, you need a big basket, you need a good decision. When the crowd's going crazy, Landry Shamet delivers more times than not.
20 straight games with a 3-point make. Longest ever streak by a Shocker freshman. And an 8-0 run to answer the Bears when they got within 3.
Landry Shamet has this extra gene where he understands time, possession, and circumstance, and then just delivers.
How big was the non-call on the over and back?
Yeah.
It's led to 6 points for Wichita State.
And when you've lost 7 games by 3 points or less, and number 2 in the country, you need those kind of calls. You need a break here and there. Nice. Daquan Miller, quick release among the trees. Nifty.
Sizing him up. Did not play high school basketball as a senior. He got the opportunity at Motlow, Tennessee Community College.
The door opens again. Here's where you really got to know who your go-to guys are. You got to have the right people making the plays.
Missouri State is 31-3 in their last 34 senior nights. If they're going to do it today, it's got to be Miller just hit the bucket.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Infinity. Empower the drive.
Number 1 ranked Gonzaga center stage tonight on ESPN against BYU. But after that, catch SportsCenter at night with Max and the coach. And catching up on a busy night in college basketball, NBA, NHL, spring training, NFL news, and Daytona. SportsCenter at night after college hoops on ESPN. Also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Jonathan Coachman, the coach, grew up not far from here in McPherson, Kansas, a former McPherson College Bulldog.
Nice. Gonzaga, part of that 26-38-19 club. That statistical cocktail of 26 wins, holding their opponents under 38, and over 19 point per game scoring margin. Gonzaga and Wichita State.
Miller, tough shot. He wanted an and one. He had Zach Brown right in his nostrils, and he still hit it and thought he got fouled. Back to a 7-point game.
On the road, you need a guy to make him stand up and cheer. He's one of those guys. Got Shamet sit down and shut up versus Daquan Miller stand up and cheer. 2 good guards.
And there you go. 17 for Landry Shamet. Well, he elevates on that 3 as good as anybody you'll find from a young player.
He averages 15 points on the road a game. He's got 17 now today, and we're a long ways from over. Let's just go play one-on-one. How about Daquan Miller against Landry Shamet? Get everybody else out of here. Let's just play that way.
Well, Shamet's 6'4", Miller's 5'10". Now a stop.
You think Miller cares?
Cracked with the 3. Marshall is upset. Greg Marshall is upset. He jumped right in the ear of Terry Davis. It is a 4-point game, and Wichita State, the 25th ranked team in the country, playing for a Valley title, being challenged.
There's Missouri Valley Conference drama now in Springfield, Missouri, as Daquan Miller, who dropped 26 on Bradley earlier this week, is on fire, getting this crowd in Springfield to stand up and cheer, knocking down the three ball, shooting the ball with confidence. Little number 4 is getting it done. And Ryan Kreklow, the designated three-point bomber. 2 out of every 3 shots come from behind the arc, where he makes 43%. And all of a sudden, it's Miller time in Springfield.
Yeah, but this has been fueled by the senior. How many times do you see it on a senior afternoon where the senior steps up? Saw it at Indiana State midweek. Same thing with the Sycamores beating Northern Iowa.
Would you say 31-3 on senior day for Missouri State in their Division I history?
Yes.
It's not bad.
And they get a stop. Frankamp with a rare miss.
Remember, Wichita State playing for either an outright regular season Valley championship, be their 5th in a row, or a tie with Illinois State, depending on how that game goes later on today.
Dixon strong Johnson. Alizé Johnson. And a foul by Martin, trying to get it from Shamet. 3rd foul on Jordan Martin.
Well, Alizé Johnson, you watch him go after the basketball. There's only one other guy that I can remember, and actually a little bit shorter than Johnson, but had the motor and the physical skills to go get it, and that was the Manimal, Kenneth Fareed. He's a lot like the Manimal, except more skilled, as a matter of fact.
Morehead State?
Yep.
McDuffie. And a tie-up arrow goes to Wichita State.
Yeah,
now both coaches are upset.
Kenneth Fareed was the nation's leading rebounder for multiple years at Morehead State. Played for Donnie Tyndall. They beat Louisville in the NCAA tournament, if you remember, out of the Ohio Valley Conference. Alizé Johnson reminds me a lot of him.
Frankamp will try it again. He's missed from the corner twice, Missouri State, and now they're going to give it right back to Wichita State.
Well, 2 guys battling for the rebound. You know what, as a coach, I'll live with that. If I got 2 white jerseys battling for the rebound, I say, go get the next one. Paul Lusk loves the effort. Remember, they spent 25 minutes just on rebounds alone. They're hanging mano-a-mano with Wichita State on the glass right now.
And remember, they were out-rebounded 12 at Bradley midweek in a loss in Peoria against the Young Braves.
That was shocking.
1 offensive rebound.
God, is he good.
He is working on a career high. Shamet with 19. The Shockers have not missed more than 2 field goals consecutively. And now a foul on Wichita State. Shamet, the highest rated recruit Greg Marshall's ever signed.
Here's the value. When your offense breaks down, he can create his own shot with that quick draw jump shot. Landry Shamet. Now you know why I'd pick him up as my 1st round draft choice, sitting on the asphalt of a basketball floor somewhere here in the Valley. If I had one choice, I'd pick him. What a matchup. Whoa!
Rejected. He got past McDuffie. Waiting for him was Darrell Willis.
So how good is Alizé Johnson? They've got Marcus McDuffie matched up with him, who can flat out defend. Tough dude out of St. Anthony. And look, they send a 2nd defender right at him. The entire Shocker defense is focused on Alizé Johnson on the backside. Darrell Willis with the rejection.
Johnson keeps it alive for Dixon. That was all about Alizé Johnson.
All about Alizé Johnson. Remember during the 35-0 season when Missouri State had these guys down 18? And Wichita State, in a miracle, came back and won. Deshaun Smith that time from 3.
Answers all afternoon for Wichita State. the best three-point shooting team in Wichita State history. And Dixon walks. 7 3-point makes for the Shockers. They had 10 against Missouri State in Wichita from 6 different players. It's what the Shockers do this season.
Deshaun Smith can load it up and knock it down off the bench. That's how deep this Shocker basketball team is.
The Rams.
Yeah, welcome back to Springfield. VCU, absolutely.
VCU, Jaquan Lewis, right now playing as good as any guard in the country. And Jonathan Williams, who, by the way, looks a little bit like Tom Hanks in Castaway. He's got the best beard in college basketball. Got great looking hair. He brings an energy off that bench for Will Wade and that bunch. It's a good team.
Great. Cod McDuffie, his first points of the game. He only had 1 point against Missouri State in Wichita in 25 minutes. And Mark, back to a 10-point lead after Missouri State had cut it to 4.
But every time this has happened, Daquan Miller and Alize Johnson have had an answer.
Shamet loves that spot. I don't know how that didn't go down.
It was halfway down, soft touch.
NBA, they'd probably give that to Alize Johnson, but not in this one. As Brad Ferry calls the walk.
Or if you're Kansas State at Kansas, you get that call at home as well.
Speaking of Kyler.
Just referencing an earlier call this year.
Pick that scab. 8th turnover for the Bears.
By the way, how about Kansas and the number of games they've won close this year? We talked about Missouri State, the number 2 in the country in 3 points or less losses. Kansas must lead the country in close wins. Frank Mason the third has been unbelievable.
So is Shaq Morris. He and Shamet have teamed up now, combined for 33 of the Shocker 58 points.
He makes them different. It's that simple. Landry Shamet, we know what he can do from a leadership standpoint. But Shaq Morris is the guy that makes them power 5-ish, Big East-ish, whatever ish you want to put in there.
The Shock's actually sitting on 60 now. Dixon has shown some courage today to go at the basket downhill.
Yeah, he's been the 3rd best option for Missouri State today. Averages about 8 points a game. They got numbers.
They also have Alize Johnson. And Shamet answers again. It's a new career high for Landry Shamet. 22 points.
One of the best sit down and shut up players in America. Number 11, Landry Shamet.
23 points. It's still a career high. Forced by Dixon.
That was a pass.
It was a pass. Give it an assist. McDuffie will take it. But Shamet has controlled this game. Timeout, Paul Lust. Whenever the Bears have gotten within striking distance, the Shockers have driven to Kansas City, to this kid, to make the big shot.
Sports Center, pay attention. It's a beautiful day in Springfield, Missouri. I want that kid on my TV tonight. Bring it, Sports Center.
25th ranked Wichita State now leads 65-52, but it might be the Zay play of the day on Sports Center.
This is why fans stand up and cheer. Alize Johnson, Sports Center top 10. And if you need the guy to sit down and make everybody shut up, you just give the ball to Landry Shamet and let him go ahead and make the play. Alize Johnson, just a tremendous job in finishing.
Shamet came back to answer. Here's your Shamet 3. Career high for Shamet, 23.
Yeah, this is your sit down and shut up play from Landry Shamet as he knocks down the 3-ball with confidence.
Career high 5 made threes. Guess who got dunked on by Zay? You knew it was?
No.
Shamet.
Was it?
Yeah. So he goes, all right.
Yeah.
Good. I'll go run down the other end and hit a 3. That gives you toughness.
So Landry Shamet will be on SportsCenter tonight. That's what we're saying.
But I'm telling you the toughness.
No.
Some guys get dunked on and they go hide for 2 weeks.
So can we ask SportsCenter then to go beyond just the dunk and then show how he responded?
Sure.
As also part of the top 10. Here's how you respond to a facial, to a posterizing. You with me?
Sure.
All in favor?
No, I brought it up. Mark.
All in favor?
I brought it up, dude.
I'm just trying to close the deal.
Smith hits another 3, same spot. In Wichita State, now the largest lead of the game, and Deshaun Smith has fired in 3 threes.
For Alize Johnson, once he's got a mismatch with Deshaun Smith, they got to get it to him. Just throw it up. Preferably not off the backboard.
Obadiah Church with a hustle play. Tonight on ESPN, the Big 12 and the Pac-12 cap off the College Hoops Saturday. Number 3 Kansas on the road at Austin to take on the Longhorns. Then the McHale Center, the place to be all day long. College Game Day was there. Huge Saturday primetime game presented by AT&T. Number 5 UCLA, incredible freshman Lonzo Ball against number 4 Arizona. Both games streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
So 2 questions. Is Frank Mason III your player of the year?
Yes, he is.
He is mine also. Second question. Is Lonzo Ball better than Steph Curry?
Don't even go there.
Not yet,
Lonzo's,
for sure.
Lonzo's dad watches these games.
Yeah, well, call in. Let's talk. Lonzo Ball is better than Steph Curry was as a freshman at Davidson. Let's put it that way.
That's safe to say.
Yeah. Maybe that was the context.
Well, you talk Zoe, I'll talk Zay. And that's Zay Johnson in this game for Missouri State. 20 games, double-figure rebounds this year, and his 16th double-double. And yet Wichita State has shown the toughness to always push back. And it's like they pushed back twice as hard.
They're up by 14.
Yeah, they were close now. Missouri State, they're within 4. And then that sequence at the end of the half to start the half was big.
And their average margin of victory for the year is 19. Nerzier's wide open.
Yeah, bad thought in there. Kreckler was actually helping out Zay Johnson.
Yeah, if Nerzier makes a quick decision, that's a basket, but he hesitated.
There's times Nerzier has lifted this team. The game at Northern Iowa, he was the dominant dude in the post that night.
How about the game he had against Vanderbilt in the NCAA tournament in UD Arena? He was the best big man in the house that day with all those big dudes from Vanderbilt. There he is again. He was open again.
Reeves gets hammered by Kreckler.
Well, Austin Reeves, one of those guys, number 12 for Wichita State, a freshman. If he can just be healthy, he creates a lot of coaching decisions, tough coaching decisions for opponents because he's so fundamentally sound.
Foul away from the ball. It's on Kreckler. Gets his second in just nanoseconds, and he'll trot to go talk to Paul Lusk. Strong move. Rashard Kelly.
Rashard Kelly is one of those guys that does the little things for this basketball team. He just makes simple plays at opportune times, whether it be defensively or offensively. The last 4 games, he's averaged over 10 points a game, 7 rebounds, and shot 60% with 12 assists and 5 turnovers. He does the little things.
He's maximized his minutes at the line as well. In fact, he's prior to that miss, 10 of his last 13. Bears have gone 2 minutes and 20 seconds without scoring and now down 16.
That's nice.
Timeout, Paul Lusk. You know, it's interesting. We talk about this league a lot, the quality of basketball, the quality of coaches. You realize 7 of the top 25 coaches, and Greg Marshall's one of those 7 of the 25th coached in this league. You look at Dana Altman at Oregon, Tim Jankovich at SMU, go right down the line. Steve Alford was here.
Yep.
He's at UCLA. Greg McDermott at Creighton.
Matt Painter
at Purdue.
Tim Jankovich at SMU.
Mark Turgeon at Maryland.
That's right.
All from this league.
Well, Bruce Weber, Conzo Martin. One of the most memorable moments I've ever had in broadcasting was in 2011 when Will Creekmore and that bunch came in here and won the Valley Championship. Conzo Martin, this place erupted. The entire floor was flooded. Conzo Martin, a cancer survivor. The most memorable days of my coaching broadcast life period.
Conzo
This place
Martin,
was electric.
he brought Paul Lusk here. They were all on Matt Painter's staff at Purdue.
Of course, Kyle Weems was on that team. Keith Pickens. Jermaine Mallett, one of the great undersized rebounders. That was a heck of a team. That was just 6 years ago.
A lot of tradition here. The late Charlie Spoonhour.
Oh, what a great coach.
Put these guys on the map.
Stick a spoon in them, they're done, right?
Mention Alford. Sweet 16. Yeah, Marty Prather's here, the sign dude. Conzo won the title here.
Yeah, when this place is filled to the rafters, it is impressive. It's such an impressive facility.
Yeah, they did a good job with
Beautiful.
this building.
Springfield, a great city. Love coming here.
Great women's basketball tradition as well. Alizé Johnson, 16, 2 over his average.
Yeah, I remember Jackie Stiles, what a great player she was. Oh, that's a nasty screen by Shaq Morris.
Hands by Miller, but it's going to stay with Wichita State.
Here's where Wichita State, their depth and diversity of talent, here's where they separate from you more nights than not. That's why they beat teams by a margin of 19 a game.
And
Shaq Morris on the backside.
16 in this game. He had 24 earlier against Indiana State, but their ability to shoot threes. They are raining threes with this team too. The best three-point shooting team in Shocker history. Just add that to everything else.
They've always got fresh legs, Mitch. And they're deep enough where they can get rest. They can keep their shooters rolling for 40 minutes. I mean, Connor Frankamp, he doesn't have to play 40 minutes. He can play 20 or 25. Be fresh, knock down shots.
That's why they're dangerous. Arch Madness. Well built to play 3 in 3 days, and also in the NCAA tournament. Particularly that second weekend.
Big numbers. Not so top 10.
Shamet thought he had a block.
So Sports Center, we have to report it. We had a top 10 play. We have to report it. I mean, we are reporters, and this is a not so top 10. I mean, we have to be fair, right?
Yeah.
We have to be fair. It's a not so top 10.
Zach Brown won't have a better chance for a dunk in his college career. There was no one within the zip code of Springfield. And then Church was doing the Church League leak out at the other end.
And Obadiah Church and Landry Shamet right now are having a little discussion about whether or not that was a foul. Obadiah Church apparently wins the debate as he's on the free throw line.
Well, he had Brad Ferry to break the tie.
That's the only one you needed. Like when you have an argument with your wife, she wins. It's pretty simple.
My wife is this year's Gonzaga, undefeated.
Yes. That's tough.
You know, he wasn't making that shot last year or earlier this year.
Playing against Baker and Van Vliet has helped his game. He's added layers of repertoire offensively to his game. Johnson just slips him. Listen, everybody's trying to block him off, but he's slithery, he's slippery.
He has his own play angry shirt. Shaq Morris, the ballerina. Dancing with the Stars with Shaq Morris.
Rishnikov. Of course, he was not a ballerina, was he?
I think he was a defenseman for the Islanders. That's the rare clank in this game for Shamet. He's got his career high 23.
Wichita State playing for a share or outright championship, up 15 in Springfield. Will Cinderella live for one more night?
This is it.
8 seconds to go.
At the buzzer.
He's got it! Oh my goodness!
These guys won't give up.
How about a little Mark Madness, some bracket busters for you. Josh Cunningham is back for Dayton. Middle Tennessee with that triumvirate of Ja'Cory Williams, Giddy Potts, and Reggie Upshaw. Let me give you one down at the bottom. UT Arlington. That's the Mark Madness special right there. Led by Kevin Hervey, Eric Neal, Jorge Bilbao. They're going to win the Sun Belt. If they don't, they should be an NCAA tournament team. And, of course, Wichita State and Illinois State also. Those are teams, Mitch, that I not only think are capable of winning in championship week, but also should be at-large teams to make the NCAA tournament. Their resumes are solid. Those teams balance offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency in a way that wins games in the NCAA tournament. Watch out for that list.
We mentioned Wichita State. Frankamp hitting the three, and the Shocks are on the cusp of 80 points again. Wichita State, 9 NCAA wins over the past 4 years. Only 4 schools have more than that.
Mitch, let me give you another one out west. I think they're the 5th best team in the West right now, and that's Nevada.
Yep.
They are loaded. Cameron Oliver, Marcus Marshall, Jordan Caroline, 2 former Valley players that moved on. Of course, Marcus Marshall left Missouri State. Nevada is loaded, and that young man is loading it up right now. And Connor Frankamp comes alive.
And back to 80, 31 times this year. This is their 31st game. 22 times the Shockers have scored 80 points or more. I had Nevada last year in the postseason. They won the CBI title. Mentioned Morehead State. They had a great best out of 3 series. And I left Reno, Nevada going, look out for the Wolfpack. Eric Musselman's team. And those teams that you mentioned, I hope they all get in as at-larges because they deserve it.
I went into the season believing that Dayton might be a Final Four team, but then all of a sudden Steve McIlvain died of a heart ailment.
Yeah, wow.
And he was one of the best differentiated big guys in the country. And then Josh Cunningham went down with an ankle injury on a dunk at Alabama in the last second. He's now back. He's now back into the mix. And that team was Scoochie Smith, who's one of the best winners in the country. I mean, that is a dangerous team. And VCU down at the bottom, both those teams will make the NCAA tournament from the Atlantic 10. Jaquan Lewis playing as high a level of guard play as you can have right now for Will Wade and that bunch. That's another dangerous basketball team. But watch those teams in March Madness. Those are the teams that not only can win a game, but could get to the Sweet 16 and beyond.
And Paul Lusk, you see him at the end of the screen. Now you look at the Shocker bench, but Paul Lusk just called timeout so he can get all of his seniors back in, including Tyler McCullough. And get, it's been a long year for Missouri State. They had high hopes. They had Rousseau, a big-time recruit.
He's from my hometown of Forest Park, Ohio, and left basically in December and never came back. It was a huge blow for this program. Good ball handler, good decision maker. Daquan Miller could play off the ball.
Another kid they thought they were going to have, Boogie Williams. He's here setting out.
And he had appendicitis?
Yeah, he had appendicitis. So that's a while back, but still, he's got great promise. ACC schools were offering him, or at least looking at him strongly before he had the appendicitis. Jack Morris, 20 points, closing in on his career high of 24 against the Sycamores.
Well, Wichita State is taking care of business.
Missouri State had a shot. The sequence at the end of the half when they played the 2-for-1, Paul Lusk had it beautifully set up. They couldn't execute, and then at 50-46, they got within 4. Greg Marshall called timeout, recalibrated the machine, and the machine is rolling.
Greg Marshall's going to go to his bench now. He does not want to get an injury. He just saw enough right there. He's going to take all these guys out, make sure nothing bad happens.
Well, he's going to bring in his secret weapon, John Robert Simon, the only scholarship senior. He got a scholarship right at the beginning of the year. Senior night in Wichita, he fired in 3 threes. And a great stat. He has finished more games in his career than Fred VanVleet did.
Yeah, because they blow everybody out. He gets a chance to close it out. Number 14 in black. John Robert Simon.
JRS.
You know, I was talking to Austin Reeves earlier this year when Austin was down with a tweak on his shoulder. And I asked him, I was a freshman, I asked him, so who's the leader? Who's the guy that really makes this go? Expecting him to say maybe Landry Shamet or Marcus McDuffie or, you know, whoever. Without hesitation, John Robert Simon. He said because he brings it every single day in practice, never guaranteed a minute, but he practices so hard. That's coming from a freshman. How inspiring is that to be a walk-on, earned a scholarship, and then have that type of respect from your teammates?
They're looking here for some excessive contact from McCullough, maybe. McDuffie went down. They're trying to make sure it was not excessive contact. They're going to say no flagrant foul on Tyler McCullough. If you haven't watched Wichita State much this year, everybody comes back. I mentioned John Robert Simon, the only senior. Gets on scholarship. Zach Bush is out there now. He's a walk-on.
He made a shot as well on senior night.
They got Asburn Meatguard coming in, a 7-foot Danish center. And then a guard that they like out of Hutchinson Junior College, who was there when I had him against Oklahoma State. He was on an unofficial visit. And here comes the lone remaining senior for Missouri State. And you feel for Paul Lusk. This Bears program has potential, and you've seen it.
Yep.
When Martin won it in the 2000, I've seen it several different coaches here. Good recruiting area.
Yep.
Good geographic location. Great city. Great area.
Wonderful building.
They'll get it back.
Good history.
And yet the Bears will finish 7-11 in the Valley.
Well, Barry Hinson obviously was here as well. Now the head coach at Southern Illinois. He also had very good success here.
Well, he was he had the Seth Greenberg Bridesmaid Award 4 times.
A 21 RPI, didn't make the NCAA tournament one year. Because among others. I mean, there was several of them.
Yeah, 4 Valley teams were in that year. They weren't going to put a 5th in.
Oh, but that was just coincidence, Mitch.
Okay.
They don't evaluate conferences. Okay, just so we know.
Yes.
You're tweaking me, aren't you? You're trying to get me going late in the game.
Well, what we're going to do is talk about the Wichita State Shockers at least tying for the Valley title. A 4th consecutive title for Greg Marshall, a 5th title, the first Valley coach in 60 years to do that. And the first Valley 4-peat since Southern Illinois 02 to 05 in the Bruce Weber, Matt Painter days. But congratulations to the Shocker, at least a share of the Valley title.
Yeah, number 8 seed by Lenardi right now. This team is at least an at-large bid if they don't win the Valley Championship at Arch Madness.
They score 80 again, and the 25th ranked Shockers roll on now to Arch Madness next week in St. Louis. 86-67, Wichita State. For Mark Adams and our entire crew, Mitch Holtis, good afternoon from Springfield, VCU, and Rhode Island up next. Let's go to Studio First.